Morning, what's up everyone? So it is a beautiful, chilly day today. I'm out here on the beach in Staten Island, and I want to talk about briefly the idea of convincing. So we're at this point where, right where we are, right now, while you're listening to this, while you're watching it, we convinced ourselves to be and see ourselves as we are, right now. The story we told ourselves is exactly the same story we built up over years and convinced ourselves is exactly the way things are for us, for you, personally, okay? Who's to say we can't do the opposite? Things just don't happen and then set in stone, stamped right on your forehead, you are this way. You cannot change. You can't be something different. You can't aspire. You can't grow. You can't work to do something that really moves you. Okay? Nothing sets that in stone except you. Now, it's a metaphor. Setting in stone, it's not true. It's just something we say when we feel we don't have control, when we feel we can't push forward, or we have no direction, or we have no idea what the hell we should be doing. We can do the opposite. If we did it one way, we can do it the other way. So we can convince ourselves to change. Convince ourselves to be something we are, or something we would like to aspire to. Let me rephrase that, okay? Something we want to become. Something we want to be. Something we want to do. Something we want to feel. It is all possible. Okay, and I'm really coming from a place where I, at one point, even though I have meditation practice since I'm 8 years old, I'm 39 this year, since I'm 8 years old, it wasn't until my mid-20s to very early 30s that I experienced a state where, an emotional, mental state where I felt things are happening and I'm stuck. I hit a roadblock. And I'm coming from that place where I couldn't move forward. And it took a long time to go back into why I believed that story. It took a long, long time, stripping story after story, perspective after perspective, self-doubt, self-destruction, depression. I mean, I knew exactly how I was before the situations that had occurred. I knew exactly what I wanted to become. So I didn't allow myself to 100% drop everything that I aspired to as a young kid and just leave it there and just fall into the muck and just drown. A great percentage of my perspective was drowning. A small percentage still had a fire, and that fire pushed me forward to still do. It felt like I was doing, or there was a doing, and then I wasn't present. It just felt like the shell was doing exactly what I needed to get done so I don't fully drown in my own self-hate, regret, depression, self-destruction, self-doubt. Like, it's just this cornucopia of description that can really, really get deep into touching exactly what a person can go through in my experience. So, coming from this place and revamping, reprogramming, recalibrating my whole entire perspective and self-story, I was able to convince myself that I'm not what I put myself through, I'm not what I experienced, I'm not what those experiences would equate to. So I changed the equation by working in my mind, say self-coaching, we call self-introspection and meditation, looking in, finding this origin of what I truly believed was how I was experiencing. For example, I identified with what I was experiencing. And then I broke out of that, and it took a long time. But there's a fire inside of you that keeps you saying, but there's got to be more. And that little spark, that little flame, you have to build it. You have to nourish it, make it grow. And you make it grow by changing your perspective, and you do it slowly. You do it small steps. Like in meditation, when we get into, or before we get into the state of meditation, we take small steps. We adjust our posture. We adjust our breathing. We learn the method of breathing. We learn the method of holding posture. We stretch before. We stretch after, so we don't have muscle cramps and tendon problems and joint problems. Like, we do self-care. And that momentum, little by little, builds up into a very, very strong state. So we do that with our own mind, our own person, and our own story. These things are very important. So out there in the world today, just ask yourself this one question, really simple question, and it is, what will I aspire to? That's it. If you don't know, don't worry. Change one thing that tells you you cannot change. So if you say, what am I going to aspire to? I want to aspire to be a little bit happier tomorrow morning. Okay, what can you do right now that can alter your self-doubt, self-hate, regret, all these things that put you down, that you put your down with? What can you do to change it? Change one small thing. Instead of doing the same things that make you feel horrible by the end of the day, flip it. Do one thing good that you never do for yourself. Just one small thing. Be it, I'm going to take 5 minutes off the computer at work today and just walk around the office and stretch my legs. I'm going to ask the boss if I can have 10 minutes just to, clear my head and go out and take a breath of fresh air. I'm going to go buy that coffee I wanted. I'm going to go get that tea I wanted. I'm going to go eat that food I wanted. Just something just to build you up and say, hey, I deserve this. And it's not that you deserve and you're entitled to have these things. It is that you make a choice to make these things present in your life. So, change your perspective. You can convince yourself to believe the opposite of how you are. And people call it brainwashing, but every single experience we have that we make a story about is brainwashing. You're convincing yourself that it is a certain way, when indeed it is neither the way you're going to convince yourself to feel better at, or the way you convince yourself about it being wrong and nasty and whatever it is that brings you down. It's all a perspective game. You change perspective. How do you juggle that? You take it one step at a time. Have a wonderful day. Peace.